Aemond, you are on my hit list. That was absolutely terrible what happened. And you could see that Aemond was like, I wasn't supposed to go this far. What do I do? I'm going to go home. My mom's going to kill me. Hey everyone, welcome back to Canon Cinema. I'm Amanda, otherwise known as AMX Indie Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. Today I will be reviewing season 1 of House of the Dragon. And yes, it is Team Black, baby, all day, every day. I missed Game of Thrones universe, land, Westeros, whatever you want to call it. I've missed it. Season 8 doesn't exist. I don't need to get into that. But I have really missed this world. And the reason why that I actually liked House of the Dragon, I didn't fully love House of the Dragon. I enjoyed it for what it was. I liked it, is because we got to see families battling again. The intricacy with that, the betrayal, the sneaking around, all of that is what makes House of the Dragon and Game of Thrones what it is. It is the fact that there are moving pieces and there are allies that work together and scheme. And there's some pretty great twists in this first season in this series. And I think that House of the Dragon isn't as strong as Game of Thrones. And I think it's just because of the pacing in House of the Dragon. There was a lot to cover in such a short amount of time. But I can commend the creators for fast tracking it the way that they did. I didn't see it as an issue that much. It's just the fact that it was hard to kind of grasp the character connections and, the lineage and who's coming in at different times. The introductions were a bit rushed and jumbled. But then obviously, if you read the book, if you research afterwards, which many of us have done for Game of Thrones as well, if you haven't read the book, it works for what it is. I personally think that splitting the season with like young Alicent and young Rhaenyra versus like older Alicent and older Rhaenyra, I thought that was really strong in that case. All of the big players kind of stay the same, but the change from, child to woman, I thought was really important. And then it hasn't really been done before in that way to kind of show the years passing. And that was the only way that you could show the years passing. And of course, the character connections with Rhaenyra and Alicent and just their own journey. I think that it's a very female-centric show, even though men have taken on these roles because they have to take on these roles. It's their lineage, it's their birthright, all of that BS that has been drilled into us many, many times. But it's so evident in this particular series that the women are the ones that are turning the neck instead of the men like using their own brains to think. The women are taking full control of their own destiny, their journey. They're like scheming and they're trying to understand the politics. I think that having Rhaenyra in the room with good old King Viserys was completely necessary. And I love that she has a very strong bond with her father. I think the father-daughter connection in House of the Dragon is something that I hold so close to my heart because, again, it's always like the daughter doesn't matter. It's the firstborn son constantly. So this just changes it completely. And I love that. Even with Rhaenys, like it's the same thing that she was like stripped away from her true title because she's a woman. So I think that even the bond between Rhaenys and Rhaenyra is really something to see, because even though they're at odds because of their houses, the one true enemy are the Greens in this case with Alicent. And I think that they really showed the slow burn with House Valerian and House Targaryen, especially with Rhaenyra and Rhaenys. I really love what happened in the final couple episodes, and that they come together as women more so as like blood and house and all of that. It's like, no, women first. Let's do women first. And I think that's the main takeaway from House of the Dragon, is that the women are the most powerful within the house. And we can't like forget Queen Alicent, because I think Olivia Cooke did a fantastic job. It's very hard to play someone who also like has sympathy but makes the decisions for their own gain. It's really hard because it's such a complex character, because Alicent still has like Rhaenyra in mind. She has, of course, her husband Viserys in mind, but she's still trying to advance her lineage with her father behind her, with Otto Hightower behind her. It just makes sense to love to hate the character. And I feel like even the comparisons to Cersei Lannister, it's not really warranted, because Alicent hasn't done what Cersei has done. I know it's season 1, but at the same time, like, that comparison right off the bat just doesn't make any sense, because Cersei just did not care about anything and did what she had to do. Alicent cares that she has a caring bone in her body. I have to say that we love to hate Alicent. I don't hate her. I hate Otto Hightower a bit more. The Greens were really strong this season. Sir Criston, the flip with Sir Criston and a young Rhaenyra was really interesting. And I think that having young Rhaenyra really come into her power after what happened with Daemon was a scene and a half, because of course that particular moment wasn't in her control with Daemon, but she knew what she wanted and she felt empowered enough to go and get it. And that's where Sir Criston comes in. But then Sir Criston is an annoying person, and I hate him as a character, especially because he went to Alicent right after. Like, it was just something, that flip, and then going against Rhaenyra for absolutely everything was the most annoying thing that I could have seen. And I literally cannot stand him now. Sure, Fabian Frankel is very pretty to look at. Cheers, he's fantastic. But oh my goodness, Sir Criston. And everything that he does with the kids. You're supposed to be teaching the children. And he just, he takes on like Aemon and Aegon, and like he practices with them a bit more. But when Harwin comes in and kind of has to teach his children, Luke and Jace, it's really like interesting to see the dynamic change in just showing who really has the best interest of the children. So you see the stark contrast between, the Targaryens, and it's a lot. You see what Alicent turned it into something completely different, because Viserys is not someone who's going to attack you within seconds. He's like, let's talk, let's communicate. And I appreciate that from King Viserys. Whereas obviously Daemon's a bit more of the hothead, but he's not in direct lineage. So it makes complete sense for him to like do whatever the hell he wants, be a bit, more fiery, obviously. But it doesn't, for me, for the Hightowers to be that brutal, just, I don't get it. Alicent was coming for blood, but Targaryens stay they stay grounded. They really do, unless they're flying circles around them with their dragons, which the dragons looked really cool as well. I think the VFX work slowly got better as the episodes went on. I don't think that the first half is as strong as the second half. Again, the 10-year gap, the 8-year gap, the 6-year gap, like that stuff like that is what's really difficult to kind of grasp, because they're all working towards something. They're all going on this journey. But I do think that when Emma Darcy stepped in and had an incredible chemistry with Matt Smith, who's absolutely phenomenal as Daemon Targaryen, the two of them together had great chemistry. And even though it is incest, you could feel the genuine love and respect for each other. And they knew that they had to come together to honor Viserys, to protect Viserys and protect the house in King's Landing. And I think that them coming together was a real treat. It started to pick up momentum. Even though Rhaenyra had to marry a Valyrian to kind of keep the lineage, it was really hard for her to consummate the marriage, considering that her husband was gay, and they tried, it just never worked out. And they made an agreement before they got married, just to keep the houses strong, that they were going to go do whatever the hell they had to do with other people and then come back together. And that's where the bastard children come in. But like a true father, King Viserys protected his daughter, and they are the true heirs to the throne. But I do like the fact that King Viserys stood by her. A lot of people stood by her during that time, even though it was known that they were bastard children. So that whole storyline was great. I'm happy that they kind of fast-tracked it, because everyone really wanted to see Rhaenyra with Daemon, and then that was just fantastic. That build up between the two of them, what had happened to get to the two of them. And it's a lot of back and forth and misunderstandings in this entire season, but that's what makes it really entertaining for me to watch, and I like that a lot. So when it comes to performances, I absolutely adore Paddy Considine as King Viserys. It was a phenomenal performance through and through, from beginning to end. It's such a well-rounded character. For me to like break down and cry when he obviously inevitably dies, his final steps walking into that throne room in order to like defend Rhaenyra against Vaemond in that case was just such a powerful moment. And you could see that he just wanted his family around him. He wanted everyone together because it's such a big family. Like, why wouldn't he have his blood like around the table and just enjoy his family? He doesn't see the deceit, the scheming, the betrayal. He saw none of that. King Viserys was dying. Alicent and her dad were in the room kind of talking politics and overseeing everything without Viserys' consent. So it was just a very sneaky way to operate on Alicent's part. But I thought it was really interesting. I was engaged with the second half of this season. I'm just really sad because Millie Alcock did a fantastic job as young Rhaenyra, but I think that the casting was spot on. I think that Emma D'Arcy really grounds Rhaenyra, and she shows a level of compassion and still with, the Targaryen ambition, that fire is in there, but she's the one that can keep composure because she's playing a different game. Especially as a woman in the realm, she has to play it differently. She can't let her emotions kind of like guide her. Whereas hothead Daemon lets his emotions guide, but she's the true heir to the throne, so she has to play it differently. She kind of plays it like Viserys, where like, let's look at all the components, let's see what we're working with. And that's what we saw in the final episode in this finale. And I think that's really amazing to see her, like, to watch the character grow from being like 13, 14 to a beautiful woman and mother who's about to become queen and officially go to war in the next season because of what the hell Alicent did. Sneaky woman. Will not forgive. So I just think that Emma D'Arcy did a great job. For me, Matt Smith, his voice alone killed it as Daemon. I thought he was fantastic. I think that even like his demeanor, his presence itself, you knew that some BS was about to happen with Daemon, and he's just very quick and he gets his stuff done. He doesn't care, he doesn't wait for anybody, but that could also lead to many bad things. Olivia Cooke was also fantastic, as I said. I really liked the ending of season 1. I think that Vhagar, which is the dragon that Aemond was riding in the finale, killing Luke was something I didn't see coming. Obviously, I didn't read the book, but I was like clutching my pearls because he was so young and he wanted to do his best, especially as like the heir to Driftmark. He had so much responsibility and he was so young. He was 14. So with Vhagar just literally chomping down on Luke, middle of the sky with great lighting, by the way, magically the lighting returns and you're like, no, you got to see this kill. This one you gotta see. Any other episode of House of the Dragon literally was in pitch black darkness. And don't tell me that I have to put the brightness on my television up. I don't know what is happening. It was like the Battle of Winterfell. It was so dark. I was squinting. I had no idea who was kissing who was killing who. I had no clue. I don't know why they did it that dark. But for this damn kill in that finale, I was like, y'all turned it up. I don't know why you did, but like, come on now. Make it consistent. I don't want any more dark night shoots. Like, it's just put some lighting in there that looks like it's nighttime and it's fine. Okay. We get the whole candlelight situation. We understand that it's a medieval time. They don't have proper lighting, but light it properly, guys. We got to see it. But yes, this finale, Aemond, you are on my hit list. That was absolutely terrible what happened. And you could see that Aemond was like, I wasn't supposed to go this far. What do I do? I'm going to go home. My mom's going to kill me. So that was really bad. I just love the fact that Rhaenyra turned around and gave us that freaking fiery Targaryen look. That means freaking war is about to start in season 2. So I really enjoyed this season. As a whole, I'd probably give it like a 7.5 out of 10. There are great elements. As I said, the performances were absolutely fantastic. I do think that the pacing was a bit rocky at times, and the year gaps kind of made it confusing, and there was a lot of like repetition and trying to remind the audience of like, well, this story's happening and then this is what wasn't told back then, but now everyone's going to find out like in this episode. And it's like they were circling back a lot, but for the most part the character interactions were great. I do wish there was a bit more action throughout the series. It was a lot of talking, it was a lot of setup and exposition, and that's fine. But the standouts for me, Paddy Considine, if he doesn't get nominated for House of the Dragon, let alone win, I'm going to be very upset. I think that both Millie Alcock and Emma D'Arcy deserve the recognition, as well as Olivia Cooke and of course Matt Smith. I do think that those were the standouts this season. I am Team Black all the way going into it because I didn't really vibe with the Targaryens during Game of Thrones. I was more of a Stark. I'm House Stark all the way. I was like, yay, high towers. And then I watched the episodes and I'm like, whoa, no high towers. We're switching gears to the Targaryens because what is this? No foot fetish in my house. Okay. All right, Allison, because we see you. We see you. So yeah, I'd give it a 7.5 out of 10. I hope season 2 is better. We have to wait 2 years. I'll probably try to read the book ahead of that, just because I'm very impatient. But yes, if you guys enjoyed House of the Dragon season 1, let me know in the comments below. Do you think it's better than some seasons of Game of Thrones? I'm not saying, better as a whole, but some seasons of Game of Thrones. Let's compare this, see how it goes. Who was your favorite character in House of the Dragon? Rhaenyra stands. Let's get our hands up because she was fantastic. You guys can always follow me over at AMX NDA Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. I'll catch you guys next time. Keep watching movies.